The Cold War, a time of tensions, conflicting ideas, and the balance of the world at stake. Today we analyze key events of the Cold War and its effects. The start of the Cold War is thought to be at Yalta, one of the last conferences ending World War II. The Yalta Conference brought together important people from the United States, Great Britain, and the Soviet Union.
Joseph Stalin, can he be trusted?
Batman, calm down. We're trying to solve problems here, and pointing fingers is not going to solve anything at all.
My spidey senses tell me that we should leave Germany up to me. Everyone needs their own friendly neighborhood Spider-Man.
Spider-Man, you have no experience running a country, and for that matter, even running your own city. Do you know how many times New York has basically fallen off the face of the earth?
Well, at least I'm not allergic to a green rock.
I personally think England should get control of Germany. A little bit of payback kind of thing.
Aquaman, what are you doing here? You can't even be on land.
Or my water buckets.
Aquaman has a good point. Let's go find Nemo.
Aquaman's not even a real superhero. I mean, all he does is swim around. What are you doing? Why?
Guys, calm down. Alright? We're getting caught in a web of problems here.
Joseph Stalin, can he be trusted?
Not this one. Well, seems to be the best we've. And he's gone again.
Hey guys, why don't we just leave it up to the leaders of each country? I mean, it's not like they can do that bad.
Winston Churchill, Franklin D. Roosevelt, and Joseph Stalin joined together for the Yalta Conference. The conference called for an immediate surrender by the Nazis in Germany. It also divided Germany into 4 zones, with America, England, and France controlling territory in the west, while the Soviet Union took the eastern part of Germany. Berlin was split the same way. The splitting of the territories in Germany led to the start of the Cold War.
Yeah, I mean, they just screwed up big time.
Tension between the United States and the Soviet Union grew over the next few years. George Kennan of America suggested the creation of a containment policy. This policy kept America from fighting a war with the Soviet Union and instead focused on keeping communism contained in the Soviet Union.
Personally, I think I should have gotten control of the Soviet Union because of Batman, and I'm intimidating. And I still don't trust Joseph Stalin, so I can find him and bring him to justice.
I thought it was a good idea to put a web around the Soviet Union, but that idea was quickly shot down. Wearing red in the 1950s wasn't that good of an idea because the whole second Red Scare and everything, so yeah, I get no respect.
Communism has already taken over China and North Korea and is moving towards South Asia and into Vietnam. Since America had struggled with their containment policy to this point, keeping communism from spreading into Vietnam was of extreme importance to U.S. officials.
Since this has nothing to do with water, I don't really care. I mean, my buddy Alfred C. Mahan loved me back in the day, but everyone's airborne now. Useless. It wasn't until the Cuban Missile Crisis that I was really hurt, you know? They were about to send nukes in the water.
The U.S. discovered that the Soviet Union was using Cuba to store nuclear weapons, so the U.S. took action. U.S. naval ships surrounded the island in a blockade to keep Soviet ships from transporting more nuclear weapons to the island. Nuclear weapons were almost fired, but Kennedy and his cabinet, along with Soviet leaders, reached an agreement before nuclear war was started. Kennedy agreed to remove nuclear weapons from Italy and Turkey in exchange for the Soviet removal of weapons from Cuba.
Yeah, I mean, it's not like the nuclear war would bother me or anything. I mean, if anything, I'd be the only one left, and probably even make me stronger.
The U.S. had moved to the air. The helicopter started to become a key tool the U.S. used during the war. The U.S. also created Operation Rolling Thunder under President Johnson, which sent bomb strikes up and down North Vietnam.
Personally, I think I should have been sent in, because if you've seen the recent trailer, you know, that the Batmobile isn't just a car.
There's somebody here for you.
No, what? I'm not Bruce Wayne. I'm Batman.
After the Soviet Union successfully sent the first satellite to orbit the Earth, the United States was forced into action. President Eisenhower enacted the National Defense and Education Act, which taught students more math and science in schools. President Kennedy later made a bold pledge saying that the U.S. would successfully take a man to the moon and return him back safely.
I mean, I guess it was cool for them to go to space. I've been in and out of outer space hundreds of times, and you don't see me on TV in space. I've been to galaxies these scientists don't even know exist. And these two guys go to space, and they're a bunch of big...
In July 20th of 1969, Neil Armstrong and Buzz Aldrin successfully landed on the moon, becoming the first humans to land on the moon, and the U.S. was now leader in science once again.
Whatever.
Once Richard Nixon became president, he looked to end the war in Vietnam with his idea of training the South Vietnamese soldiers to fight for themselves. Nixon also tried to end the Cold War as a whole with his détente tactics. Détente is the lessening of tensions, and Nixon did just that. Nixon and his council met with Soviet leaders to create the SALT I Treaty, which cut the number of ballistic missiles in both countries.
The whole salt treaty thing, was a good idea, There's a little salt water. No one gets me.
The SALT II Treaty took place during Jimmy Carter's presidency. The treaty further reduced arms and limited nuclear production and transportation to Allied countries for either side.
Spider-Man. Whoa, you're recording right now? What? Dude.
The Berlin Wall was created to separate the Eastern Soviet side and the Western English, American, and French side. Construction started in 1961. The wall became a symbol of the Cold War because of the separation of the U.S. and Soviet Union. When Ronald Reagan became president in 1980, he looked towards easing tensions with the Soviet Union and even called for Soviet leader Mikhail Gorbachev to tear down the wall.
Oh, okay, we're recording now? Alright. Well, I think it was a very powerful speech from Reagan, but, with great power comes great responsibility.
The Berlin Wall was torn down in November 1989. Many East Germans came to help destroy the wall, even David Hasselhoff for some odd reason. This led to the end of the Cold War.
I mean, I think this is all due in part to my main man, Ronald Reagan. He showed up in one of my comics one time. He was a great leader, and he is definitely the reason why the Cold War ended.
I think Kennedy was key in ending the Cold War, because he was the first to actually reduce nuclear weapons with Soviet Russia. And he actually did it without superpowers. Pretty cool. Batman knows all about that.
It has to be Nixon. He was president when the EPA was created. Helped me out a little bit. Nothing to do with the Cold War. But, someone has to respect the ocean.
LBJ. Period. He brought justice in Vietnam by bombing them. And he also helped out the poor. He wasn't the president that we deserved, but the one that we needed. Batman!